So we know that last week's spy balloon came from China, but what about the 3 other objects shot down over the weekend? Well, apparently, U.S. pilots could not even identify how these objects were even being powered or staying in the air, so we seem to know nothing. Anyway, joining us now with reaction, a former Navy pilot. He previously encountered an unidentified flying objects. Ryan Graves is with us. Ryan, welcome to the program. I know NORAD is saying this, that it's a possibility. I don't doubt that it is a possibility. I've studied it. I've looked into it. I find it an interesting topic. I've not been convinced that, life exists elsewhere or what these unidentified flying objects are. But you testified before Congress. Why don't you tell people what you said?
Yeah, Sean, I think at the end of the day, I agree with you that we really just don't have enough information right now to make an assessment either way of what we're looking at. What we do know is that there are things out there that are posing a aviation safety hazard, and now we're seeing that hazard demonstrated in real time in Alaska and Montana and elsewhere across the United States.
Okay, you testified. You're a former F/A-18 pilot, and you said that 50 to 60 people that you flew with would tell you that they saw a UAP every single day, yet one other pilot has confirmed this publicly. But you're saying that this was something you often all talked about privately?
Absolutely. We would fly our jets off the eastern seaboard in our working areas with our F-18s. And once we upgraded our radars, we started noticing objects in our working areas that we weren't expecting to see. And we were all seeing these. We were seeing them on our radars. We were seeing them on our camera systems and our FLIR systems. And eventually, we even saw them with our eyeballs. It came to the point where we almost had a midair with one of these objects as we were entering our areas, and the aircrew that saw this object just described it as a dark gray or black cube inside of a clear sphere. Yes, when we were off the East Coast, typically how we'd see these objects behave is stationary, which isn't very exciting, but typically when we're operating at altitude, we could have winds anywhere from 60 knots up to 120 knots, and they would be stationary against the wind, as if they weren't moving, when we're fighting to keep our aircraft in the area. Other times, they would proceed in a straight line or in a holding pattern, often at speeds up to a supersonic 1.0 Mach. And they would also be out there all day, where our aircraft would typically only last for about an hour and 15 minutes when we're flying tactically. These objects would be flying at high speeds for most of the day.
Wow, amazing experience. First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for sharing your story. And, the fact that they don't know about the 3 that they shot down over the weekend is spectacularly frightening to me because the fact it shows a vulnerability I never thought this country would have.
Given the many UFO reports in the Eisenhower, Nixon, Reagan, and Bush administration, Hannity's comment is a transparent manipulation of his uneducated audience. Americans have been aware of this potential threat for more than 7 decades, with men like Hannity using the mockery of tinfoil hats to ridicule contactees and abductees as pure conspiracy theorists. This, even as Tucker Carlson reports that right-wing factions in the CIA did have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy. To his credit, Ryan Graves doesn't use his time to dump political spin, but he should know that Hannity wouldn't pass on the cheap shot, especially given the $1.6 billion his recent confession may cost his employer. Those humans who stoop to dishonest tactics are failing the extraterrestrial team-building test.